Hello, and welcome to our live webinar, Why Good Isn't Good Enough, Presenting Excellence. Thank you for coming back to this final webinar and a special series sponsored by Fairfield County SCORE and the Fairfield County Community Foundation. We are all pleased with your very enthusiastic response to this series, which has been targeted to women and minorities whose businesses have been hard hit during COVID. In this series, we're having a SCORE mentor reach out to help you develop a plan or a review session with a SCORE mentor. If you missed any of this series, they'll be available on our website, fairfieldcounty.score.org. I'm Ruth Kelly, the webinar coordinator and a business mentor here at SCORE Fairfield County. I'll be your host today, and our presenter is Diane Winston. More on Diane in just a minute. First, just some brief information about SCORE. SCORE is a nonprofit national partner of the Small Business Administration. Here in Fairfield County, we have about 130 volunteers with a wide range of background. We offer 3 primary value-added services: one-on-one business mentoring, business education programs, and online webinars. We also have extensive resources, which you can find at our range of topics that is at our website, again, fairfieldcounty.score.org. Just a little information about today's event. We've set aside time for questions and answers at the end of the presentation. If you have a question, please use the question and answer window, Q&A window, anytime during the presentation. It's located in the lower part of your screen. Our webinar will end about 1 o'clock to respect your time. Again, the session is being recorded, and the link to the recording will be available at fairfieldcounty.score.org. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Diane Winston. Diane is a business strategist with over 25 years of corporate and consulting experience. Diane established her management consulting business, Winston Strategic Partners, to provide communication strategies to organizations facing change. Before establishing the firm, Diane spent 20 years in executive positions with Citibank and AXA Equitable. She's also a volunteer with SCORE and a frequent workshop speaker and a good personal friend. Diane, it's all yours.
Thank you, Ruth. Hold on 1 second. Let me get my video started. The host stopped my video. Can you let me in, host? I'm waiting for the video just to get permission to show the video.
Well, we're on for Winston Strategic Partners.
You should be fine now.
No, I can show me.
Yes,
Here you
are.
There you are.
Oh,
okay,
there you
great.
are.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Hello.
How are you? How are you? Thank you for that introduction, Ruth. Just a little bit about my firm for those who are on the line, and thank you for joining us. I started my firm almost 16 years ago. I can't believe it. We are a change management consulting firm. We support organizations introducing change. We also support individuals who are building their career and where organizations are building leaders for tomorrow. We do that through leadership development training seminars, as well as through executive coaching. And we support companies and nonprofits and small businesses that may have interest in creating cultures of inclusion, but they don't know how to get started. We work with a group of specialists in the diversity, equity, and inclusion space, and we help program. We work alongside you to make that happen. But enough about Winston Strategic Partners. Let's get on with our topic for today. So when SCORE asked me to do this topic, why good isn't good enough, I had to think about it. And we want to present excellence. Everyone says that, you know, I want to be excellent at what I do, but why is this in particular a subject that we chose for minorities and women business owners? This is the plan. I'm going to define excellence for you first. Then we're going to talk about measuring up to excellence. Do you understand what is expected and how that plays into your being able to provide excellence to your client? And then the controls that you have in setting the standards, setting clear expectations. And in everything that we do, there's also a need to know when to course correct. And communications, communications, communications. I cannot say this enough. It's important that you communicate not only internally with your team, but especially with your client. So let's define excellence. This is Webster's definition. You got to be outstanding or extremely good. Do you think you are? And what are you doing to make that happen? Does your product or your service offer some outstanding feature or quality, something that sets you apart from your competitors? This is important, and you should think about that, because there can be a lot of widgets out there, but what makes yours different? Quality, quality, quality. Have you ever purchased something online or even in a store and got home and have it break? The quality wasn't there. We don't want that to happen to us, and I'll tell you why in a few moments. An excellent or valuable quality is one that is virtuous. And so I thought, let's talk about virtuous. Now, let me go back for a moment. Defining excellence is something that we get to do. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner, I'm CEO of Winston Strategic Partners. I set the bar on what is excellent for Winston Strategic Partners. But my bar for excellence is not the only one that I should be measured by. We should be measured for our virtue, and this is being measured by the outside world, our clients and our peers. Do we conform to a standard of what is right? Do we have a moral compass so that there's a level of trust when we are delivering to a client or to a colleague? Is what we offer beneficial? Does it offer power? Is it a beneficial quality that we're offering, or is it just run of the mill? And Webster said that virtue was a manly strength. You see how I reacted to that. I didn't want to completely leave it off. They don't really mean male manliness, but it's about strength and courage. And then having a commendable quality or trait about ourselves. Now, excellence takes practice. We learn from our mistakes, and we're going to make mistakes. We are going to make mistakes. But it's about learning from those mistakes. And when we think about virtue, how do you want to be perceived by your clients? That's the question. Now, I started off saying that it was an interesting topic, one that is focused to minorities and women, but why? Because we always walk in a room and there's a preconceived notion about our ability, about our intellect, about our product, our service, about the value of what we bring. I'm just going to tell it to you straight. And so understanding that we cannot and should not ever take for granted that the person sitting across from us who we are trying to sell our service or our product to is certain that we're going to give an excellent, provide them excellent service or provide them with an exceptional product. We have to make sure that we measure up. And, you know, I learned as a kid that being Black meant that I had to work twice as hard to be twice as good. Not what work twice as hard because I was slow or there was anything inferior about me, but because the rest of the world saw me as inferior. And so I had to work hard and get my A's, and I had to be um, able to go across the aisle and work with other people in order for them to experience me. And then I got the chance to demonstrate my excellence. So having defined that, how do you measure up? When you think about what you offer, and this, I'm not talking to those of you who are seasoned. I'm talking to those who may be just coming out of the gate. You're just starting your business. I'm talking about those who may be in a turn in your business. I've made several turns over the 16 years that I've been in business. I've looked at and assessed what it was that I was offering, and I stopped offering to a one target market and started offering to another. Part of that was demand, but it's not enough to just offer something. It's also important that we know if it's hitting the mark. So measuring up product or service quality. Is the value our perception of value? And this gets back to my, you need to know how your clients feel. And when we worked in corporate, and I worked in corporate, it was important that, you know, your managers gave you a performance review. When you're an entrepreneur, you want your client to give you a performance review. And if you're part of a collaborative of other entrepreneurs, whether it's in an industry organization, a professional organization, or even something as small but essential as a mastermind group, you want to always check in. Do not assume because you think it's excellent that it is. How do you measure up? How do you measure up for excellence? Do you really know what your client expects? You know where this shows up? When you meet a client or a prospective client for the first time. Are you listening? Are you selling? Listen to what it is that they say about their organization. If you hear a problem, maybe you can read that problem back. If you're in a meeting to talk about the possibility of your firm offering that product or service to the client, read back what you think the client is expecting of you. And you can also offer what the client is not expecting of you, because 9 times out of 10, in my experience, our clients know what they want, but they don't understand necessarily all of the things that will support what they want. They're focused on fixing this one thing. But our perspective as a management consulting firm, we have a broader perspective. They may not want everything that we offer, but we at least confirm what they've said are their expectations of us. And we offer other suggestions which might maybe an alternative to what they expect or they're looking for, or it complements it. And then are you measuring up competitively? Do you know what your competition is like? Do you know who your competitors are? Yep, we all have a business plan. If you're a SCORE client, you've got a business plan. And in the business plan is a section for you to assess who your competitors are. Are your competitors large corporations? Are they small? Are they other business owners? And identifying your competition is great. You want to do that. You want to know who's out there, who may be competing for the same RFPs, requests for proposals that you are. But it also is an opportunity for you to meet your competition and maybe come together as a collaborative group, as a collaborative team. After all, we're small businesses. Some of us, I'm a solopreneur. I've been a solopreneur for 16 years, but it hasn't stopped my growth. It hasn't stopped my ability because I reach out to my competitors. I reach out to colleague firms that complement the services that I offer. I'll give you an example. I had a client that asked me from a content development marketing, at the time I was doing that work, if I had someone to do translation work for them. I did not. But I spoke to a colleague from the Greater New England Minority Supplier Development Council, of which I'm a certified MBE, Minority Business Enterprise. And there was someone, a firm, that I entered into a subcontracting relationship. So whenever a client is looking for interpretation or translation services, I have a subcontracting relationship with this firm. They're not my competitor, but they're a complement to what I do. On the other hand, there is a firm that I use, and they do what I used to do, but I didn't do it real well, which is why I didn't do it. I don't do it now, and that's the marketing stuff. I'm not a marketing agency. I'm a consulting firm, and what we do is strategic change management through communications, leadership development, and DEI programming support. Understanding that, I have worked as, I have invited another firm to work for on one of my contracts with a client, and they are completely revamping their annual report. This is a digital design firm. The talent is there. They complement what I offer. I'm communications, their communications, but their communications on the digital design side. So measuring up and offering excellence also means going beyond your own capacity, going beyond your capabilities, and looking around at the competitive landscape to identify opportunities where you might be able to collaborate with other firms to grow your business and theirs. This is what I consider going from average to good to excellent. So why is this important? This is important because a satisfied customer is our best strategy. You want customers to ask you to come back again. You want customers to recommend you for service, that recommend you to their peers or other firms. You want repeat business. But if our business is not at the top of the mark, competitors are going to come in and take over. We could lose the assignment. There are a whole host of things. But when we talk about a good business strategy for a satisfied customer, let's look at the beginning. When we go to networking meetings, have we researched the target clients that are going to be there? Have we done that? It's important when we go to networking, we know who's going to be in the room and we know a little bit about them, because they really don't want us to walk up and say, "Hi, I'm Diane Winston and this is my firm and this is what we do. Can I do some work? Do you all have a problem?" That's not building a relationship. And all of the business that I have been able to land, thank God, has been in building relationship. And so starting with just meeting a prospective client or meeting a prospective colleague firm that you might want to do business with, it's important that you show up with your game tight, whether it's a capability statement, whether it is your business card, whether it is that your attire. And for ladies, are we coiffed? Is our makeup, is everything such that it represents you as CEO of your firm? That's essential. The other thing is following up. You meet people at networking meetings or you have a one-on-one matchmaking meeting. Have you followed up? Now, my rule of thumb is that I don't necessarily send a thank you right away, because if it's a large conference and there are a lot of people rolling through that one table with that prospective client, they're going to be inundated. So what I do is I may wait a week, but I always indicate who, where, and when in the subject line. So it's Diane Winston, Winston Strategic Partners. In parentheses, I may put change management consultant, and then I put the event where we met. It just makes it easy for your client. This, believe it or not, puts you at excellence, because you're making it easy for them to not only remember who you are, but if they put all of the emails from that particular event in one folder and they're looking for you, it's going to be in your subject line. What about our proposals? We spend a lot of time looking for proposals. Sometimes we're fortunate enough to be invited. When you do a proposal, and I'm going to recommend this, I'm going to strongly recommend this, answer what they're asking for. Make that the first line of business. Don't start off talking about how glorious your firm is and how talented and all of your experience. There's a place for that in a proposal. But let me tell you, the way that I do most of my proposals, and federal proposals are slightly different, but I always want to, after I have read the statement of work or the request for quote, request for proposal, RFQ, RFP, I always sit down and I look at really what are they asking for? Do they tell me what their objectives are? Do they tell me what they're looking for the successful contractor to do if hired? If I'm awarded, if my firm is awarded the contract, do I really understand what they're asking for? And that's why I always start off with, it's almost like a letter, but it's a statement of understanding. If that understanding comes from a meeting, then make reference to the meeting where you learned what they want and just reiterate what you understand that they're looking for. Then the next part of your proposal should really be about your approach to each one of the things that the client is looking for you to deliver. And again, it's not about selling yourself. It's about giving your client a glimpse into your capabilities. How would you approach it? What is the timeline? The pricing should be pricing for value. And if you really are an expert, you're credentialed, you've got experience, then don't be afraid of putting a price in your proposal that you feel is fair and valuable. You can always negotiate after they've taken a look at you. When you submit your proposals, are they spell checked? I would suggest Grammarly. I love Grammarly. It does more than just spell check. It actually looks at syntax of my writing. It looks at the use of a passive voice, which I am known for. It recommends reordering certain paragraphs. It's a really wonderful tool to look at your proposals before you send them. But the other part of looking at your proposals, read them out loud to yourself. When we read something out loud, what we do is we end up finding words that we meant to delete, or we may have two of the same words, or I don't know why it works, but when we read a proposal out loud, it just simply enables us to catch things that we would not necessarily catch if we read it silently. So it's about building relationships with your clients. Now, how do you do that? You meet them at a networking, you send a follow-up, you may ask for a meeting. There's no business necessarily at that moment in time, and you don't force that. But then you on a regular basis, and I don't mean every week, I don't mean every month, it may be once every quarter, it may be twice a year, that you just drop them a note. You might have something new to offer, or you may just, like I do, I send notes to my clients, always clients, prospective clients, and colleagues around the holiday time. Because you just want people to know that they're top of mind for you, so that when opportunities come up, you're top of mind for them. Now, here's a big one. What does your social media look like? I have a LinkedIn profile, and I only accept requests from people that I know. I'm not trying to do a numbers game to get 2 million people that are on my LinkedIn. And the same thing with Facebook. I only invite people who, and Facebook is becoming more and more used as a business tool, but my personal Facebook is limited to the people that I've connected to. But I do have a Facebook page for my company. And what I want to say is separate your worlds. I have seen social media posts from colleagues that have mixed up business and personal. And there's some things that are inappropriate for business that are on their Facebook page. put it off and do your business a Facebook page. Instagram, I've got an Instagram account. I very rarely use it. But these are the things that I think help build a reputation of excellence. You want consistency no matter where your presence is, whether it's in person, whether it's on Zoom, whether it's in a proposal, a networking meeting, um, and especially your work product. You want to be able to deliver exactly what the client is looking for. If you're unclear, you ask the question. Now, I say that because some folks, and I'm not sure who's on the line, but I just want to make sure I take into account those who may be a little shy about calling a client up and saying, you know, we talked about this thing, and I walked away and I looked at my notes, but I wasn't really sure if you meant this or you meant that. I just want to get a little clarity before I put together this proposal. Do that. They will appreciate it. You will appreciate it even more when you get ready to submit your response. And then your visual image. Um, it's a personal thing. It's a personal thing. If I was walking into a financial institution, a bank, an investment house, um, a very conservative organization, I would dress much differently than if I was going to Silicon Valley to a tech firm. With a tech firm, I would do business casual, but I would still be neat. I'd still be just a little bit more polished than say the folks that work there, just because I want to be respectful of the environment that I'm in, but I also don't want to look like a sore thumb and come in all decked out in a suit and heels and overly made up and no. All right. But you always want to be comfortable in how you present yourself. Because at the end of the day, if your shoes pinch, if the skirt's too short and you're sitting there and it's rising up, or gentlemen, if your pants are too tight because you put on a few pounds during COVID, you're not going to be comfortable. And you want to show up comfortable and with excellence. Something else that we can do to manage how we show up. Understand what is expected. I understand one thing, but does my client understand the same thing? So for that, for those of us in a service business, and I think it applies also if we are selling products, do you stipulate something similar to a service level agreement? When I do a proposal, I outline everything that we're going to offer. Sometimes I put timelines in. I estimate how much time something might be. I also indicate if there is, and in my business, nothing moves forward unless the client has seen it and approved it. And so if I'm talking about delivering within the client's expectations for this work in 3 months, and I set out a timeline and I say we'll finish milestone 1 in 1 month, milestone 2 in month 1.5. But in month 1.5, it's going to mean that the client needs to be engaged. They need to review it. They need to give us feedback in order for us to give them another version at the end of month 2. So in my presentations, as well as in my proposals, we always stipulate what we are going to do in the time frame we're going to do it, and where there's overlap with the client and our dependency will be on the client, we say so. This is also important when you're talking about pricing. When you set up your pricing in your proposals, is production a part of your pricing? Are you producing something? Is that included? What about travel? How many days do you anticipate having to travel when we go back to being in person? And what about hotels? See, those things take a little bit of research. And I think it's important that we lay it out all there for the client to see, to say yes to. Betty, I see your hand. If you can hold your question, I will definitely answer you. Set the expectations not only on what we're going to deliver, but also in our pricing. I always stipulate that production costs are separate. And I also say that, that travel is going to be separate. Now, you want to read contracts, and federal government gives you, and I think most government contracts, they will give you the contract even in an RFP so that you know what is expected. If they are going to reimburse for travel, what the per diem is, you want to read that stuff before you do the proposal. Don't be so anxious, and I've done this, so anxious to get the work that I didn't spend the time reading what's in the contract. Okay. So expectations versus reality, not only in what the client is looking for, but in terms of what they expect from you and what you expect from them. Are the two the same? Is that the reality? And this is how you can ensure that it is. Set clear and realistic expectations. I'm working on a federal um, um, response to proposal right now. I'm working on it right now. Um, the RFP is 90 pages long. The contract is in there. They're asking so explicitly for so many different pieces. And I have a team that I pulled together to help me to deliver this if we win. And this week, I just plowed through the 90 pages again. The first time I received it, I did a cursory review. But in order to write the narrative of how we're going to deliver, everyone gave me their piece. But then when I really sat down, quiet, put some quiet music on, had a glass of water, a cup of coffee next to me, and I said, I'm going to just spend time and I'm going to read through this carefully, I realized that what my team had given me was going to be inadequate, wholly inadequate for what the client wants. So we met for 2 hours this morning from 8 to 10 a.m. And I went through everything that I discovered. They had the documents, I had forwarded them to them. So I had to first set clear expectations and realistic expectations about what I needed from them. The client set their expectations out very clearly, but we could have missed the opportunity to even be considered had I not taken the time to look at what the client expects. Now, with a lot of RFPs, and I can't recall if this is also in commercial RFPs, the prospective client gives you the opportunity to ask questions. So when you get an RFP, it's important that you read it, ask questions, and then when they post the questions and answers, go through and read not just the answers to your questions, but the answers to all of the questions, because it's going to help inform the proposal response that you develop. Again, set clear and realistic expectations, but that cannot happen if there is not information flowing between yourself, your clients, and between yourself and the colleagues that you're going to be depending on to help you to deliver the work or the product. So let's say we're in. We want a proposal. The expectations are clear. We've communicated. We're now in the midst of the work. And as we're in the midst of the work, something comes up that's going to impact what we have been hired to do. We have been engaged to do a specific thing, but the client has now moved the needle just a little bit more to the left. This is going to impact us. So what do you do? You need to have an opportunity to put in a change order. That change order could be because the project shifted, but it could also be because you may have lost a resource in the midst of delivering a project. And so now you have to go to your client and you have to get permission. You have to get their approval to bring someone else in. When you read contracts with government in particular, it says, whoever you put in the RFP, whoever's resume or profiles, whoever we've got a background check on, those are the people and only those people do we anticipate will be on on this engagement with our folks. But if you lose someone, then there's something that you have to do. So you want to be able to reposition, and you want to have those discussions with your client. I would have them beforehand. But if they change the direction of an initiative, then you have the right to request a change order. And if you look at the contracts that should be in there, and if it isn't, I think you want to put that in your proposal. That if there's anything that's beyond the scope of the work that you are bidding on, that you welcome a change order. That's it. Don't make a big deal out of it. So be prepared to change course, make whatever alterations that you need to make, reposition your company so that you can stay competitive and deliver all the way through for your client. And there's also another thing about course correcting. I told you I've been in business for 16 years. I haven't always had the knowledge that I do. A lot of it comes from being in organizations that are within my function or my trade. The other is, I have a subscription to Harvard Business Review. I read a lot. I want to stay up on what I'm doing. And it's important for us as entrepreneurs not to get so bogged down with the day-to-day that that's all we do. We're the day-to-day, we're running the network, we're putting in RFPs, we're doing the work. And as solopreneur, that is a trap that we get into. So I tend to carve out opportunities for self-development to where I'm going to learn something, to get a certification. I'm certified now as a ProSci change management practitioner, because change management is what I do. I do the communications. I know what change is. I've watched change managers lead change while I deliver the change management communications. But having that certification means that I'm learning some skills, some terminologies. I'm learning something I did not and would not have otherwise known. So it's important for you to always be learning. Learn from competitors, learn from industry organizations, learn from your clients, read, and be ready, not so much to shift what you're doing for them, but maybe shift what it is that you want to do within your company. It's okay. I wanted to be a medical doctor when I went off to undergraduate school. Nope. A cadaver, me? Nope. They put a little fetal pig in front of me in bio at NYU at night. And I thought I'd lose my mind dissecting that. Understand it's okay to change. So I no longer service individual clients. I only do medium size, small, not even small businesses as much as medium sized companies, large corporations, and government entities. After 16 years, I've been able to narrow it down because these are the ones that buy what I'm selling. And I'm selling what I love. So enough said about that. Cannot say enough about communications. I'm not a mind reader. I know you're not a mind reader. We can't make assumptions that somebody meant this, but they didn't say that. And so internally and externally within your team, feedback loop, confirm what you heard, confirm deadline dates, always, always, always confirm. Reset your baseline, your strategy, your target clients to align with where you are taking your company. But feedback is important. You're not going to get a performance appraisal. When I do leadership development training, there's always evaluations, whether the client is giving an evaluation for participants or I am asking participants to fill out my evaluation. Why is this important? And I hold my breath, I really do. Because I want to know if I'm hitting the mark. I want to know areas that I can improve, but I also want to know those areas that are really, really hitting home with my audience. So you all will get an evaluation from SCORE about today. They will share your feedback with me, and it will just enlighten me on what I can do differently not just for SCORE, but I do these presentations and I do keynote speaking, and I'm always looking for feedback. But as a business owner, welcome feedback. It isn't necessarily welcoming criticism. It's just getting feedback so you can be the best that you can be. And then I have one more point for you, where I've got my final slide, and then we will go into Q&A. In order to be excellent, don't overpromise. Don't say you can do it if you can't do it. Now, I know, we do this as small business owners. Someone came to me and said, can you do a class in appreciative inquiry? And what did I say? I said, sure can. And then when we hung up, I went online and said to Google, what is appreciative inquiry? Well, I was able to do enough research. I got the books on the folks that created this change management approach to change, to managing people, change. And I then got certified in it. So I didn't quite overpromise because I knew that I was going to learn everything that I could. But if you asked me to fix your car and I said I could, well, I'd be flat out lying, because not only do I can't do it, I have no interest in doing it. Ask all the questions that you have. Ask every question. No question is too small or too large or doesn't make sense. Don't make that assumption. We also have a way as women and minority entrepreneurs of not wanting to ask stupid questions. Ask your questions. When I was in college, my professors couldn't move forward until my question was answered, because if I didn't understand what you were doing in calculus or in microeconomics, if I didn't understand something that I read, I'm not going to do well on the exam. So my hand always, if I was not following, excuse me, sir, excuse me, ma'am, can I just ask you to go back to this one thing? Do the same thing with your clients. While they're talking, sometimes they'll take you down the road here when they really should stay here. Listen, and then ask them to please clarify or maybe prioritize. Set realistic expectations. If someone is looking for you to turn around a proposal tomorrow and they just came to you at 4 o'clock today, is that realistic? Look at all the other things that you have on your plate and other deliverables for clients. And then confirm the expectations. Do it in writing is always best. Send a little email. Great chatting with you. I just want to confirm that I'll be sending that proposal out to you a week from today, before end of day. Great meeting with you, thank you. Then price for value. You have to, don't overprice, but gosh, don't underprice. It's bad enough that the world thinks that minorities and women are worth less than $1. Okay? In corporate America, we make a percentage of what white males make. That's our reality. But here, you're CEO of your firm. You know what your education is. You know what your skills and your talents. You know what your experience is. You know how long you've been in business. You know you have clients who are going to vouch for your ability, capability, and performance standards. So don't be afraid to price for value. If you are pricing too high, your clients or prospective clients will negotiate with you. I think it's a good idea to ask if there's a budget so that you know what parameter. You don't want to build a proposal for a Tesla when they really are only looking for a smart car. Okay. And then my final, and then we'll go into questions. Deliver more than good. Deliver your absolute best. And you determine what that is, no one else. But if you can go in and deliver to your clients and walk away and have your chest out and you feel good and your client is like loving you, then you are delivering excellence. Thank you so much for your patience. I know there are questions and I'm ready to take them. Ruth, how do you want to do this?
Well, Diane, first of all, I want to thank you personally for covering such a broad subject in such a brief time, and also to remind people who are listening in that this is going to be available on a repeat just in a couple of days. We'll be able to look at what all the points that Diane covered on our website, which is www.fairfieldcounty.score.org. Now, back to the questions. Let's see. We have a couple questions here in our question and answer from Kim. It says, Diane, is there a standard template you use that is clear-cut and has all of the points you were sharing with us? Not too long, but just enough as a communication point?
There isn't. And Ruth, I don't know if there's something, and Kim, I think you're making reference to maybe a proposal. And let me know with a yay or nay in either chat or the Q&A if that's what you're referring to. I don't have one, but because I spent 20 years in corporate and I was reading RFPs, an RFP could be 30, a request for proposal, I mean, a response to a request for proposal could be 30 pages long. And 20 of those pages was the prospective vendor or supplier touting how wonderful they are. And all I wanted to know is, can you deliver what we want? And that's why, not having that background and that knowledge, I always start with a statement of understanding. And then everything that I put, I understand that you want this, this, and this. Then the next section is the approach, and the approach to this, this, and this. And I really spend time building that out. How will I deliver that? And then what will I do? Will I involve the client? Was it going to take 2 to 3 weeks? And I may even give an experience that I had with another client and explain why it worked. That's it. I'm not selling how good I am. I want them to test how good I am, but I'm not going to do a lot of selling. I put my capability statement in, I put my resume, or my bio and my colleagues' bios, and done deal. You all can decide. I hope that answered your question. Ruth?
Kim has come up with another question, which is an extension of this. I think it's the same, Kim. Yes, it is. Do you have recommended resources to use as a reference for pricing services that we don't price or overprice?
I wish I did. My dear, I wish I did. What I did when I started out is I went to other consultants who were in my space, communications, and I just simply asked them. And then, see, this is where competitors are very useful. And also, I'm a member of the Association of Change Management Practitioners, but it's the International IABC, International Association of Business Communicators, okay, so it's IABC, Business Communicators, okay? And they have a lot of that information there, which is why I would suggest that you try to align yourself, get a membership with organizations that are within the industry or the trade or the function that you're doing. So if you were in HR and you wanted to be an HR consultant, you might join SHRM, okay? For me, it's change management and it's communication. So the Association of Change Management Professionals, it keeps me up to date. And I can also ask my colleague members that very question you just asked. What's a high and a low?
And I think, well, Kim, you came to a second question, which was specific to pricing. And I just like to point out that there are pricing workshops all over the place. Certainly SCORE has some pricing workshops that will help you focus on what affects your particular situation. And then back to your idea, I think the standard template you develop yourself, but one of the things I got out of listening to Diane again, and I've heard her many times expand on this same subject, is that the personal touch, when at any point along the way, far exceeds any value from something that is standard. In other words, specific to your situation. And these are the things that you talked about in not just submitting a proposal, but getting back on every point along the way. Am I correct that this is
yes. I think that over time, Kim, you will define a template for yourself, like I do. Like I statement of understanding is always it. And then I talk about the approach, and within that might be the timeline. Sometimes it might be pricing as well, but generally pricing comes after I introduce the team about my company, about the team, and then I'll do pricing. And then there may be other things at the end, but that came just from experience.
Experience is a pretty interesting facet of doing business. How long have you and I known each other? Probably 15 years, maybe.
Yeah.
We're not the same people that we were 15 years ago. Right. And certainly the situation, your own experience colors how you approach people, how much you put in, how much you leave out, how much you get in touch with people. One of the things that people sometimes, when they hear about SCORE, I don't think they realize that this is not something you dial up and say, I want to come in and get all my questions answered. This is an ongoing possibility, if you want it to be that, for dealing with local people who can help you with a variety of situations, not just their own experience, but bringing in the marketing experience. So it's not a one-shot deal, but I have a client that actually we have met and still meet. I think it's about 17 years. That's hard to believe.
Hey, Ruth, I see 5 questions. Have we gotten all of them?
Well, we've got Kim. Someone asks if there's a way to request you as a mentor. I think that everyone would like to.
Thank you. I'm flattered. I'm flattered. I limit my mentoring. I co-mentor because as the CEO of my business, I have to make that the priority, but I also want to give back. And so I feel an obligation to support others who are thinking about going into business for themselves. So if you find a SCORE mentor and there's something that they think I can add to the conversation, they'll invite me in and I will co-mentor with them.
I think that we probably have hit on some of them have been repeats from, is it Tamira or Tamira? Tamira and Kim. I had a question while you were talking. Oh, here comes one. I just want to say thank you. I look forward to going back over today's discussion. What a wise comment that one is. It's not a question, but an observation. But I had a little observation. Today, I can't tell you how many times I get something. I go get gas and they want to know how I like the gas delivery. I go to the grocery store and they want to know if it was a satisfactory business. Some of these things are useful perhaps to them, but they're annoying to me unless they are specific to the situation. I gathered from what you covered today, Diane, that you can't underestimate the value of personal touch all along.
You can't undervalue the personal touch, but I think it's critical. It may annoy you when people ask you how they're doing, but I need to know how I'm doing.
And you can't call everybody up.
But you don't. Well, see, the supermarket and the gas, that's a completely different bird than one entrepreneur who's delivering services to one client. I think clients tend to respect it when you want their honest feedback.
We have time for a couple more questions, and I see one. Is a Facebook page necessary if you have an Instagram page for business, or is one preferred over the other for a service business?
Listen, this is Linda, you said. I hate it all. I'm old. I have a Facebook page I was made to get for my business, so it's separate from my personal. I have an Instagram account that someone set up for my business. I very rarely use it. I think it's a personal thing. If you've got the time and energy, and if you are much younger than I am, that's your world. Just make sure that whatever is out there, right, is reflective of you and what you want your brand to be perceived as.
That's a very good answer, Diane. I think you covered that a little bit in suggesting that allow time in your calendar of events for yourself and personal development, and but not 100%. I mean, you have to plan and segment your time so that it works for you. And on some cases, it's going to be more different from others. Am I right about that? I mean,
Absolutely.
No encounter is the same.
Someone else, there's a ninth question I see.
Oh, there is. Let's see. Is it? Yeah. Uh-oh. I do not like social media either. Okay. Well, Tamira is vocal today. I think that's it.
Okay. Well, you know, we don't like it, but it's out there. So I've got a LinkedIn I've had since they started LinkedIn. I prefer that. It's business only. And I let people in. I connect only with people that I know, who maybe I know other people that I respect in business, but I don't let my family, my nieces and nephews connect with me in LinkedIn. They are limited to Facebook, my personal Facebook. I keep business and social separate.
Different people have a different personal definition of what social media is.
Yes, but you know what, Ruth? Just like with college students, where admissions officers look at their social media and make decisions about admitting them, we face the same scrutiny. We face the same scrutiny. So keep your business on the up and up, and keep your personal wherever you want it, but not intertwined with business.
Well, thank you.
Another question.
Is there another one?
10.
You keep seeing questions.
Number 10.
I don't see them.
Number 10.
We've
number
got
10. Opt-in.
Do you see it on there with Q&A, the 10?
I see.
Can 10. You see it?
I can't. Let me see if I can see it.
Because I got Tamira, Linda, Tamira.
Yeah, Diane, standard 10.
I think we're counting her every time she says something.
Oh, she said, yeah, we are. I didn't even look at these.
Yeah, it's Tamira. It's Tamira. I'm awfully glad you came. And Kim, let's see. Well,
we're good.
One of the things that this is the end of the series that was sponsored by the Fairfield County Community Foundation. And one of the things that we have agreed to do is call the people who have attended these workshops and offer to discuss whatever help you think might be available. So when you get a call from someone from Fairfield County SCORE, answer the phone, please, and call us back, because we will be delighted to, we have such experience with so many people. I say to some people sometimes that I've learned more about business since working with a variety of people in SCORE than the way I did when I was working, because it's
and my 2 cents on that is that I've had a SCORE mentor since year 2. I didn't know about SCORE when I started my business, but I have a SCORE mentor to this day, and he is available to me as I need him. And we can meet monthly. We can meet more than monthly, depending on what I need. And with COVID, we met by telephone. So human beings who care to support you and help you be successful, get a SCORE mentor.
Well, we will look forward to talking with all of you. And if you don't, for some reason, hear from us, you know how to call us. So Diane, once again, this was a great presentation of such a generalized, it's a wonderful finale for the 7. If I hope everybody has been able to hit on the 7, but if you haven't, I think you get a feel that each one is distinct, but each one relates to each other. I'm very, very happy that we have had Fairfield County Community Foundation co-sponsoring this event, and Diane spoke three times um, out of the 7. So you can find her all over the place on our website. Again, thank you very much. Don't think we have any more questions, and we have right up on time. So it's to say goodbye, stay well, and have a good weekend. Is it a weekend yet? It seems like it is.
Not yet, almost. It's just hump day.
Okay. Well, thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye, everyone. Best wishes.
Soon.
Thank you, Ruth.
Bye.